Losing my father was something I really wanted to make sure that people understood. We really needed help. I saw my father calling my phone. Normally at that time I was not picking up my phone even around the baby because he was so.
Cardi B's explosive claims about Nicki Minaj's childhood. Before we dive into this explosive story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because Celebrity Program TV brings you the most shocking celebrity revelations you won't find anywhere else. Trust me, you're going to want to see what happens next. What Cardi B just revealed about Nicki Minaj's past has sent shockwaves through the entire hip-hop community, and we're breaking down every single detail. The gloves are off, the secrets are out, and nothing will ever be the same between these two rap titans. We're talking about allegations so disturbing, so deeply personal, that even longtime fans are struggling to process what's being said. This isn't just another celebrity feud. This is a complete implosion of whatever shred of civility existed between two of the most powerful women in rap. And when I tell you what Cardi B accused Nicki Minaj of enduring as a child, your jaw is going to hit the floor. The internet is absolutely on fire right now, and everyone from casual fans to industry insiders is weighing in on whether Cardi crossed a line or finally exposed a truth that needed to be told. Get ready, because what you're about to hear involves childhood trauma, alleged substance abuse, family dysfunction, and accusations of exploitation that cut deeper than any diss track ever could. The latest chapter in the never-ending saga between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj has taken a turn that nobody saw coming, and it's darker than anyone could have imagined. These two women have been at each other's throats for years now. We all remember the infamous shoe-throwing incident at New York Fashion Week, the subliminal disses in their music, the Twitter wars that had everyone picking sides. But this time, Cardi B didn't just come with insults about chart positions or fashion choices. She came with information so personal, so devastating, that it's forced the entire entertainment world to stop and ask some serious questions. We're talking about allegations of childhood abuse, parental neglect, and trauma so deep that according to Cardi, it still haunts Nicki Minaj to this day. The beef reignited when Nicki decided to take shots at Cardi B's latest album sales, mocking the performance of her project and essentially questioning her relevance in the game. Now, in the world of hip-hop, talking about someone's numbers is fighting words, but Cardi could have responded in a dozen different ways. She could have clapped back with her own sales figures, she could have dropped a diss track, she could have ignored it entirely. Instead, she went nuclear, and what she revealed has people questioning whether any beef is worth exposing someone's most painful childhood experiences to millions of people online. According to Cardi B's tweets from October 2nd of this year, Nicki Minaj experienced horrific abuse at the hands of her father, Robert Marriage, who passed away in 2021. Now, this isn't entirely new information because Nicki herself has spoken publicly about her father's issues over the years. She's talked about his violence toward her mother, his struggles with addiction, the chaos that defined her childhood home in Queens, New York. In interviews and in promotional material for what was supposed to be her Netflix documentary before it got shelved, Nicki painted a picture of a household ruled by fear, where her father's rage and substance abuse created an environment of constant terror. She's described hearing her parents fight, seeing her mother suffer, feeling helpless as a child watching her family fall apart. Nicki has even said that her drive to succeed, her relentless work ethic, her need to be the best stems partially from wanting to rescue her mother from that situation, to give her family a better life, to prove that she could rise above the dysfunction she was born into. But what Cardi B claimed in her recent social media posts goes even further than what Nicki has publicly shared. And that's where this whole situation gets incredibly complicated and deeply uncomfortable. If you're still watching, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because Celebrity Program TV is the only place where we give you the unfiltered truth about what's really happening in celebrity culture. Cardi B didn't just reference the physical abuse Nicki's father inflicted on her mother. She made specific allegations about abuse directed at Nicki herself. In a series of tweets that have since gone viral and been screenshot and shared across every social media platform imaginable, Cardi wrote that the little girl inside Nicki has never forgiven her mother for standing by while her father allegedly touched her inappropriately during his drug-fueled episodes. These are incredibly serious allegations, the kind that, if true, would explain a lot about the persona Nicki has built, the armor she wears, the way she lashes out at perceived enemies, her need for control in every aspect of her career and life. Childhood sexual abuse leaves scars that never fully heal, It shapes how people view relationships, trust, vulnerability, their own bodies and self-worth. Survivors often struggle with exactly the kinds of issues Cardi is now claiming Nicki faces, including turning to substances to numb the pain, difficulty maintaining healthy relationships, and a defensive posture toward the world that can look like aggression or paranoia to outsiders who don't understand the source of that behavior. But here's where this story gets even more twisted and controversial. Cardi B didn't stop at revealing what she claims Nicki told her about childhood abuse. She went on to accuse Nicki of using drugs to cope with her trauma, specifically stating that Nicki needs help and that substances aren't the answer to dealing with pain from the past. Cardi wrote that Nicki went through massive trauma and abuse, and while acknowledging that reality, she simultaneously weaponized it in their public feud by putting it out there for the world to dissect. Then Cardi took aim at Nicki's husband, Kenneth Petty, a man who already has a controversial reputation given his criminal record as a registered sex offender. Cardi claimed that Kenneth isn't helping Nicki with her alleged substance issues because it benefits him to keep her in a compromised state, allowing him access to her finances while she's not thinking clearly. According to Cardi's tweets, Kenneth lets Nicki use drugs all day to numb her so he can run up her credit cards and live off her success. She painted a picture of a woman surrounded by people who don't have her best interests at heart, from a husband exploiting her vulnerabilities to friends who pretend to care but gossip behind her back, all while Nicki spirals deeper into whatever demon she's fighting. The question everyone's asking now is whether Cardi B was justified in exposing these alleged private details about Nicki Minaj's life, or whether she crossed a line that should never be crossed no matter how heated a beef gets. Make sure you're subscribed to Celebrity Program TV because we're going to continue following this story as it develops. And trust me, there's going to be fallout from this that we haven't even seen yet. On one hand, survivors of childhood abuse deserve to control their own narratives, to decide when and how and if they share their trauma with the world. Taking that choice away from someone, even an enemy, feels like a violation, like using someone's deepest pain as ammunition in a petty industry rivalry. On the other hand, if Nicki Minaj is indeed struggling with substance abuse and surrounded by people enabling or exploiting that struggle, is there an argument that someone needed to say something publicly to force the issue into the open? Cardi framed her revelations as coming from a place of concern, saying she wanted to be the realest person in Nicki's life and tell her that she needs therapy now, that she needs professional help to deal with unresolved childhood trauma before it destroys her completely. But can concern and exploitation coexist in the same action? Can you claim you're trying to help someone while simultaneously using their darkest secrets to win a Twitter argument? The context for how this escalated is important to understand the full picture. After Nicki mocked Cardi's album performance, Cardi responded in ways that apparently triggered Nicki to bring Cardi's children into the argument, specifically her 6-year-old daughter culture. According to Cardi and screenshots circulating online, Nicki used racist and dehumanizing language to describe a child, calling her ugly, comparing her to insects and animals, using the kind of vicious personal attacks that go beyond normal celebrity beef into something much darker and more disturbing. For Cardi, a mother whose children are her world, having someone attack her daughter's appearance with racist language would understandably provoke a nuclear response. In Cardi's mind, if Nicki was willing to attack an innocent child with such venom, then nothing about Nicki's life was off limits anymore. The gloves came off completely, and Cardi decided that if Nicki wanted to fight dirty by bringing children into adult problems, then Cardi would expose everything she knew or believed she knew about Nicki's struggles and vulnerabilities. It became a mutually assured destruction scenario where both women were willing to inflict maximum damage regardless of the consequences. What makes this situation even more complicated is that Nicki Minaj has indeed spoken about her father and her difficult childhood before, so some of what Cardi referenced isn't entirely new information. Nicki has talked publicly about her father's crack cocaine addiction, about the violence in her home, about her mother Carol Marriage's strength in eventually leaving that situation and rebuilding her life. When Robert Marriage died in 2021 after being struck by a car in a hit-and-run accident, Nicki mourned publicly despite their complicated history, suggesting that whatever abuse occurred, she had found some level of peace or at least acceptance about her relationship with her father. But the specific allegations Cardi made about inappropriate touching and her mother's complicity through inaction, those are details that if Nicki did share them, she shared in private conversations that Cardi is now exploiting. That's the kind of betrayal that goes beyond typical celebrity drama. It's a fundamental violation of trust that changes the nature of their conflict entirely. The reaction online has been deeply divided, and if you haven't already, subscribe to Celebrity Program TV because we're going to be covering every angle of this story as more information comes out. Some people are defending Cardi, arguing that Nicki crossed an unforgivable line by attacking a child with racist language and therefore deserved to have her own painful history exposed. Others are condemning Cardi for weaponizing childhood sexual abuse allegations regardless of the provocation, saying that some things are simply off-limits no matter what. Mental health professionals have weighed in on social media, with many expressing concern about both women and the toxic cycle they're perpetuating, pointing out that hurt people and that both Cardi and Nicki are clearly dealing with their own trauma in destructive ways that play out on the public stage. Some Nicki fans are calling Cardi's allegations lies and fabrications designed to destroy Nicki's reputation, while others are pointing to Nicki's behavior patterns over the years, her feuds with multiple women in the industry, her sometimes erratic social media presence, her relationship with a convicted sex offender, and suggesting that maybe there's truth to what Cardi is saying about unresolved trauma manifesting in unhealthy ways. Kenneth Petty's role in this narrative adds another disturbing layer to the story. He's a registered sex offender who served time for attempted rape, and his presence in Nicki's life has been controversial from the moment she went public with their relationship. Many fans and observers have questioned why someone as successful and powerful as Nicki Minaj would tie herself to someone with that kind of criminal history. And the most common explanation from people familiar with trauma psychology is that survivors of childhood sexual abuse sometimes find themselves in relationships that recreate familiar dynamics, even unhealthy or dangerous ones. It's not a conscious choice but rather a pattern driven by unresolved trauma, a comfort in the familiar even when the familiar is harmful. So when Cardi accuses Kenneth of exploiting Nicki's vulnerabilities for financial gain, of keeping her medicated and compliant so he can access her money, it fits into a broader pattern that makes people deeply uncomfortable about what might actually be happening behind the scenes of Nicki's carefully curated public image. The most tragic aspect of this entire situation is that two incredibly talented, successful, groundbreaking women who should be celebrating their achievements and supporting each other's continued dominance in a male-dominated industry are instead locked in a cycle of mutual destruction that benefits nobody except the media outlets and gossip platforms getting clicks from their pain. Both Cardi B and Nicki Minaj have overcome incredible odds to reach the pinnacles of success. They've both faced sexism, racism, industry gatekeeping, constant criticism of their appearances and personal lives, pressure to maintain relevance in a youth-obsessed culture, and the challenge of being women in hip-hop where female artists are often pitted against each other as if there's only room for one at the top. Instead of recognizing their common struggles and finding solidarity, they've become each other's worst enemies, willing to expose the most painful parts of their histories and vulnerabilities just to score points in a beef that ultimately diminishes them both. The real winners here are the people who never wanted to see either of them succeed in the first place, the ones who can point to this mess and say, see, this is why we can't take female rappers seriously. Look at how they tear each other down. If what Cardi B is saying is true and Nicki Minaj is struggling with substance abuse and surrounded by people exploiting her, then Nicki needs help from professionals, from real friends who care about her well-being, from family members who can intervene, not public call-outs on Twitter that humiliate her while claiming to come from a place of concern. If Cardi genuinely wanted to help, there were private ways to reach out, to offer support, to connect Nicki with resources without making her trauma tabloid fodder. The fact that she chose the most public, most humiliating method possible suggests that despite her claims of being real and trying to help, this was really about winning their ongoing battle and inflicting maximum damage on someone she views as an enemy. Similarly, if Nicki is dealing with unresolved childhood trauma as Cardi suggests, then attacking a child with racist language is clearly a manifestation of hurt that hasn't been properly addressed, and the people around her should be getting her help rather than enabling behavior that will only lead to more public meltdowns and destroyed relationships. Make sure you stay subscribed to Celebrity Program TV because this story is far from over and we're going to be here covering every development, every response, every twist in this ongoing saga. The hip-hop community is watching closely to see how this resolves, whether either woman will take accountability for their actions, whether they'll both just continue escalating until someone's career or mental health is permanently damaged, or whether cooler heads will prevail and they'll find a way to step back from the brink. Other artists are already being asked to weigh in, to pick sides, to comment on who's right and who's wrong, and most are wisely staying silent because there's no good answer here, no way to support one without seeming to condone behavior that's harmful. This is the kind of situation where everybody loses, where even people watching from the sidelines feel uncomfortable about the level of personal destruction being weaponized for entertainment. The broader conversation this situation has sparked is about boundaries in celebrity feuds, about what's fair game when public figures are attacking each other, and what crosses a line into something genuinely harmful and unethical. It's also raised questions about parasocial relationships, and the way fans treat celebrities like characters in a reality show rather than real people with real pain and real consequences to these public battles. Every tweet, every Instagram post, every leaked screenshot gets treated like content to be consumed and debated, with thousands of strangers weighing in on deeply personal matters they know nothing about beyond what's been shared online. The human cost of this kind of exposure gets lost in the entertainment value, in the memes and the hot takes and the think pieces. But behind every revelation are real people dealing with real trauma, and turning someone's childhood abuse into a trending topic should make all of us question what we're participating in when we engage with this kind of content. Celebrity Program TV will continue to bring you the latest updates on this story and every other major development in celebrity news because we're committed to giving you the full picture, not just the sanitized version. The entertainment industry has always had its dark side, its exploitation, its willingness to sacrifice people's well-being for profit and spectacle. What's happening between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj right now is a perfect example of how trauma, competition, unchecked egos, and public platforms combine to create situations that spiral completely out of control. Both women are at a crossroads where they need to decide whether winning this beef is worth the cost, whether exposing each other's vulnerabilities and pain makes them feel powerful or just leaves them both diminished. The saddest part is that even if they both walked away right now, even if they apologized and tried to move forward, the internet never forgets and this will follow them both forever. Those tweets will be screenshot and referenced for years. Those allegations will be brought up in every future profile and documentary. The damage has been done in ways that can't be undone. So what do you think about all this? Was Cardi B justified in revealing what she claims to know about Nicki Minaj's childhood trauma and current struggles? Did Nicki cross an unforgivable line by attacking Cardi's daughter with racist language? Is anyone in this situation acting in a way that we should support, or are they both wrong for letting their beef escalate to this point? How do we as consumers of celebrity content balance our interest in these stories with the ethical concerns about participating in the exploitation of people's pain? These are complicated questions without easy answers, but they're worth thinking about as we watch this situation continue to unfold. Make sure you're subscribed to Celebrity Program TV and hit that notification bell because we're going to stay on top of this story. And when there are new developments, you'll want to know immediately. Drop your thoughts in the comments, let us know where you stand on this controversy. And keep coming back because Celebrity Program TV is your source for the most compelling, most controversial, most talked about stories in the entertainment world. We'll see you in the next one.